Between 2025 and 2030, both the United States and China are expected to pursue aggressive and carefully calculated strategies across the military, economic, and diplomatic domains. These strategies are driven by deepening rivalry and a desire by both sides to shape the future international order. On the military front, the United States views China as its most serious strategic competitor. This is clearly stated in the U.S. Department of Defense's 2022 National Defense Strategy is focused on a doctrine of integrated deterrence, which means coordinating military, economic, technological, and diplomatic tools in conjunction with allies. This includes enhancing its forward military presence in the Indo-Pacific region, strengthening alliances such as AUKUS and Quad, and investing heavily in emerging technologies such as hypersonic weapons, AI-enabled battlefield systems, and resilient communications infrastructure. Military is also in the midst of modernizing its nuclear triad, with next-generation submarines, Columbia-class, stealth bombers, B-21 Raider, and land-based missiles, Sentinel ICBMs, coming online during this period. China, meanwhile, is accelerating efforts to become what it calls a world-class military by 2049, with a significant milestone target set for 2027, which coincides with the centennial of the People's Liberation Army. China's military modernization includes a rapid expansion of its nuclear arsenal, significant advances in anti-satellite, ASAT, weapons, cyber warfare capabilities, AI-driven decision-making systems, and hypersonic missiles. The PLA is also intensifying its preparations for local wars under informatized conditions, which analysts interpret as preparation for a possible conflict over Taiwan or in the South China Sea. China's construction of new missile silo fields in regions like Xinjiang and Gansu signals its intention to become a serious nuclear power with second strike capabilities. Economically, the U.S. export controls are in place to restrict China's access to advanced chips, AI development tools, and quantum computing components, is also leading efforts to strengthen its green energy and manufacturing base through the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, while trying to rally Indo-Pacific nations under frameworks like IPEF. Excluding China, China is pursuing what it calls a dual circulation strategy, which aims to boost domestic consumption while reducing dependence on Western supply chains. It is investing heavily in semiconductor development, renewable energy, electric vehicles, and digital infrastructure under its Belt and Road 2.0 initiative. China is also seeking to reduce its exposure to the U.S. dollar by increasing the use of the yuan in trade with countries such as Russia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Huawei's success in developing indigenous 7nm chips despite U.S. sanctions illustrates China's progress in achieving tech self-sufficiency. Additionally, China is redirecting foreign direct investment away from the West and toward the global South, especially in Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. Diplomatically, the United States is doubling down on its alliance system, revitalizing NATO cooperation in Asia, expanding Quad engagements, and deploying new capabilities in Japan, Australia, and the Philippines. Washington is also increasingly using financial and diplomatic pressure to reduce Chinese influence over key technologies, supply chains, and infrastructure globally. There has been an effort to re-establish direct lines of communication with Beijing, especially military-to-military hotlines. But these efforts have been inconsistent. China is pushing a global diplomatic agenda rooted in challenging U.S.-led global institutions. Through initiatives like the Global Security Initiative and Global Civilization Initiative, Beijing is promoting multipolarity and an alternative to Western liberal democracy. China's foreign policy has gradually moved away from confrontational, wolf warrior diplomacy and toward more pragmatic and stabilizing engagements, at least outwardly, particularly after the economic and reputational costs of COVID-19 isolation. Beijing is building stronger ties with Russia, the Global South, and expanding the influence of BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. De-dollarization efforts, like conducting oil and gas trade in yuan, are part of a larger plan to reshape global economic power. When it comes to the risk of nuclear war, the situation is deeply complex. As of 2024, China's nuclear warhead count is estimated at between 500 and 600, and the U.S. Department of Defense expects it to surpass 1,000 by 2030. Like if you found this helpful. Comment which story you want covered in depth next. Don't forget to subscribe.